Donald Trump's top two priorities for when he gets back into office are the massive deportations and, of course, tariffs for everybody. But he also has a third agenda item that, of course, is getting routinely overlooked. And that, of course, is to make sure that the 2017 tax cuts get extended. Tax cuts are scheduled to expire in about a year, so they got to get to work, Congress and the president, getting those tax cuts, because God forbid the wealthy elite have to pay extra taxes for a couple months while they sort this mess out. But therein lies the problem, because Republicans, who of course will have a very slim majority in the House and a slim majority in the Senate, know that expanding those tax cuts that were hugely unpopular once they were actually enacted, and even Republicans realized they weren't getting any tax cuts, it's going to prove to be a little bit of an issue. The initial round of tax cuts added more than $4 trillion to the deficit, which Republicans tell us the deficit's horrible, we got to get rid of the deficit. So they've put themselves, with their own talking points, between a rock and a hard place, right? You've been bitching about the deficit for years, but now you want to do something that's going to raise the deficit by $8 to $9 trillion, according to estimates. So what do? You got to push the tax cuts because Donald Trump wants it. But you got to keep the deficit in line, otherwise you look like a bunch of morons. Not to mention that once you pass the tax cuts, even your own base is going to be pissed off because they were pissed off when you did it at the end of 2017 once they realized they weren't going to get any of it. So you're going to end up pissing somebody off. You just have to choose now. Do you piss off Donald Trump and not extend the tax cuts? Or do you piss off your base by passing Trump's tax cuts that, of course, Trump benefits from, you guys benefit from, and your donors will benefit from? We all know the answer to that. They're going to pass the tax cuts. I mean, they've got the numbers to do it, and by God, they're going to do it. But even Republicans in the House and Senate are admitting right now tax cuts could be in trouble, because in order to do it, they're telling us we got to watch out for that deficit, so we have to cut and cut and cut to pay for these tax cuts for the wealthy elite. And what's the number one item on the chopping block? Well, it's that piece of legislation that, of course, has been sending millions and millions of dollars across the country to rebuild things like infrastructure and new projects that are bringing jobs and income and economic activity to red and blue states alike. I am, of course, referring to the Inflation Reduction Act. That was the massive infrastructure package that President Biden signed into law, and Republican Senator Thom Tillis told NBC, quote, "There's a lot of things we can claw back. The Democrats shouldn't be surprised that the American Rescue Plan and the Inflation Reduction Act should be ripe for that." And this idiot, I gotta tell you, he sees no irony in saying that he's going to claw back something called the American Rescue Plan and the Inflation Reduction Act. Like, those are good names for good things that did what they were supposed to do. American Rescue Plan. No, we want tax cuts for the wealthy. The Inflation Reduction. Everybody wants to reduce inflation. Nah, tax cuts for the wealthy, right? Some Republicans, of course, are not on board with this. So, Republicans are sabotaging themselves by pushing this tax cut, which, again, I 100% believe will go through, but there's no good outcome for them. There is no good outcome for these Republicans. You can either piss off Donald Trump, which could end your career. You could piss off your constituents, which could end your career. You could cut projects that are actually bringing jobs to your districts, which could end your career. Or you could just be a massive hypocrite and increase the deficit, which your opponents could then use in the next election to end your career. I don't honestly care which one you do at this point. I just hope it does, in fact, end your careers. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. We got fresh content every day for you. And If you want to follow us across social media, make sure you check out all of the social links that we have posted in the description of this video.